Welcome to OMGTV, where I ask the designers of some of our favorite dolls Super 8 questions in the segment I call The Face Behind the Dolls. Hi everyone, welcome back, and today I'm super excited to be starting something new on my channel. We talk about dolls, we collect them, we restyle them, we admire them. But don't you want to know about the person who created them? That's why I'm bringing you the face behind the dolls. And first up, I have my favorite designer from MGA. She's created some of my favorite dolls from the LOL Surprise. Her name is Lora Stevens. Stay tuned to hear some of her amazing answers while we learn which doll she created, her process, and more. The first question I asked was, when did you get started designing dolls?
I started designing dolls in 2007, although I've been designing toys from 2001. But 2007 was the first year I designed a doll that went to market. That's when I was working at Mattel. It was for a Polly Pocket called Polly Pocket Dance and Groove Assortment. I did the 2 playsets that came with that. And also following that, the Polly Pocket Pool Party, Ultimate Pool Party assortment, where Polly Pocket had a dual slide where she could race down to the bottom of the pool. There was a cabana set and also a grill, a barbecue grill with a patio fan that would turn at the top for her friend.
Now that's amazing. I had no idea that she worked for Mattel first designing one of my childhood favorites, Polly Pockets. Like, didn't you all have one? I know I had quite a few of them. Next, I asked, when did you start working for MGA designing LOL Surprise?
I started designing for MGA in 2018, and my first product came out in 2019. It was the LOL Surprise Hair Vibes assortment.
Hair Flips was one of the funnest LOL Surprise because it was the remix series, and we all loved the remix series. And you got to make a boombox. I have an unboxing on my channel if you want to check it out. Next, I wanted to know what was her favorite part about designing. Her answer was awesome.
My favorite part about designing dolls is the color I get to add, the color combination. I'm really drawn to color. Color really does inspire me when creating a character for each doll. And it's just fascinating to see what comes out of my imagination from that inner child in me that I see in front of me. It amazes me to see what comes out, because I don't know initially all the time how exactly I want her to look, but the initiation really is color and mood.
We are all about the colors when it comes to our dolls. I must admit, that's one of the first things that draws me in. So I wanted to know, what is her creative process when designing?
My creative process when I design is to be in a great mood. And sometimes that's not always the case, but I tend to push my mood to be in more upbeat, relaxed, excited, happy mood, as if I was going into like a dance class, like a hip-hop dance class that I'm really about to enjoy. If I'm learning these new steps as I go, and I'm able to build it together, put it together, the more I keep doing the steps. And I have that same type of attitude when I'm designing a doll. It's just like I'm ready to immerse myself and bring out this beautiful doll that's going to come out.
I follow Lora on Instagram, and she's a great dancer. She's been dancing for a long time as well. So, of course, next, I wanted to know who or what is her biggest inspiration that got her into designing dolls.
What got me inspired to do dolls, I believe, is just how I remember playing with dolls myself. I have a very big imagination, and I had a lot of dolls growing up, and I always kind of changed them from what they originally were when I took them out of the box. Like, I would change the hairstyle, change the clothes, or kind of alter the clothes. It was just how I played with the dolls. They didn't, if it was Jewel Secret Barbie, she didn't stay like jeweled up. Like, she would have like a whole different outfit I would make her in, but I would use the clothes on other dolls and create other characters with the bits and pieces and fashions from all the other dolls. I never kept a doll in her exact clothing or hairstyle. I was literally building characters from the dolls that my mom and grandmother would buy for me. And it just happened to be at that college where they had a toy design program, because I went to Otis College of Art and Design. And I initially went in for fashion, but the fashion design program was a little bit too much for me. And I wanted to do illustration, and the illustration program wasn't what I wanted it to be, because I was also interested in being a children's book illustrator. But when I saw there was a toy program, I just felt like that was the perfect part of me to be able to adapt my artistic skills in, because I had so much experience playing with toys. I'm like, oh, this totally makes sense. Let me give this a try. And I wind up just falling in love with it completely. I wanted to correct on something that I mentioned before. Originally, I went to Otis for the illustration program. I said it backwards. I went there originally for the illustration program. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be. And then I was interested in the fashion program, and I did an immersion day, where you got to see like a day in the life and being in fashion design. And it was just like way too much. I'm like, I'm not going to survive. I can't do this. It totally turned me off. So I'm not doing fashion. And then toy was new at Otis College. It was only 2 years old at that time. I'm actually the second class to graduate from toy design. I'm there. And and the first Black African-American woman to graduate from toy design at Otis. But beside that point, I just fell in love with it because it was something I already was familiar with, was toys. And dolls, but not just dolls, but toys itself, like plush. I had a lot of stuffed animals. I had electronic toys. I've also designed activity sets. I've just been inspired by how I played as a child. There it is. I've been inspired of how I played as a child in order to create and keep creating new and different toys throughout my career. And right now it's in dolls, and that's actually where I always want to be. Like, I didn't want to be a preschool designer or plush or activity play sets or small dolls. I've done all those. I've even done large dolls, little mommy. But fashion dolls is somewhere I always want to be, and I'm happy that I'm finally here. I wasn't seen by a lot of managers as being capable of doing fashions because I didn't have a fashion background, but I know fashion. I know.
She sounds like all of us, reimagining our dolls and designing them the way we see them. And we also learned that she attended Otis College of Art and Design. Like, the first Black woman to graduate from toy design at Otis. Like, that's amazing. Go ahead, sis. And she started off doing something else, but then found her true passion in toys. That is really awesome. So, of course, we all want to know, what is the hardest part about designing dolls?
I wouldn't say it's the hardest part, but it is very challenging. It's budget. You know, for me, I always want to design dolls that I've never seen before. Like a doll that you can't say like, oh, this is exactly like the same outfit you've seen like 2 years ago on some other doll that was the same price point. I like to design fashions that are just fresh, but relatable and totally like on point with current trends. And so it's about budgeting. Make sure I can stay in cost and be able to afford all those details to the dolls that I design.
Budget, yes, that makes sense. And if you've seen her dolls, which I know you have, she definitely stays up on the trends. The next question, I couldn't wait to hear her answer. I asked her to give me 2 of her favorite dolls and why.
2 of my favorite dolls. Well, the first one and foremost is Strawberry Shortcake. I am a 79er, raised in the 80s, and Strawberry Shortcake was my first love of a doll. The whole entire brand, every character, I just wanted to live there. My mother bought me all the clothes, I had the shoes, I had the tricycle, I had the canopy bedding set. Girl, I was strawberry cake down. And I just loved the dolls. I had a lot of Orange Blossom dolls, not so much Strawberry Shortcake, but because they had Orange Blossom and she was just as beautiful, like I was just totally into her. So Orange Blossom from Strawberry Shortcake is one of my favorite dolls, my first favorite doll. My second favorite doll would be Perfume Pretty Barbie. I remember having this doll, and even though I did not keep her in that same pink fashion, I played with her the most. And I had the black one. Something about her was just like, I just felt like that was me. I really loved that dress and how it was just so sleek and like form-fitting to her body, and it was like down to the floor. It was like something I'd never seen before in a doll, but I would definitely see my mom or my grandmother like dressing up like that fancy. So it was just like, I have to have that doll because that doll is me. I could really resonate with that doll. And literally out of all the Barbie dolls I had, she was like my main character doll. She lived in the master bedroom in my Barbie townhouse.
Strawberry shortcake. Oh my goodness. I love Strawberry Shortcake. Like, I watch the show endlessly. I feel her on that one. And the Pretty Perfume Barbie. The dress is amazing. I get why these are two of her favorite. Finally, I asked her if she had any advice for anyone who wanted to be a doll designer. So pay close attention to her response if one day you want to be a doll designer.
The advice I have for anyone who wants to be a doll designer is to keep a journal. I mean, a drawing journal, a ideal journal. Put all your ideas and your drawings and just continue to build on your character or your characters like in a book, and they will evolve. You might come back to one that you abandoned, you only drew one time, but there's so much that you can do with just keeping a journal of it. Or if you're a doodler, keep your doodles together, like make a book of it, and develop your characters, develop your artistry, develop your style. Another thing I want to say is that I'm very grateful to work at MGA. I didn't believe in myself to be able to work at MGA before until I had Mattel underneath, like my belt, that is somewhere, I established there, because as an African American woman, I wasn't necessarily seen as being able or capable of taking on big roles in the doll world. I got very small jobs growing into my career over time. I've been in the business since 2001 and took a hiatus between 2012 and got back in 2017, and just to raise my children because they were younger at that time. And yeah, so it's just like I just felt like I always had to prove myself, and I'm just grateful to work at MGA because they believed in me by seeing me who I am and allow me to show them that I am able to produce. And it's been a great marriage ever since.
So we learned a lot in this interview. Not only did she create dolls, and she also told us she created activity sets. Lora has faced obstacles in this industry with not having the fashion background, but she credited her time at Mattel as an opportunity to prove herself after facing many obstacles as a Black designer in the doll community. Here's a look at all of the amazing dolls that she's designed that we know, own, and have loved over the years. And we can't wait to see what she comes up with next. Thank you so much, Lora Stevens, for this wonderful interview. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in and getting to know the face behind these amazing dolls. And thanks so much for tuning in with me on OMGTV.